This sucks! Wait, what is that?
What are you?
Looks like a bucket of
Percussion over melody mainstream music.
It's me!
Red Pill Blues.
Come on, Files, let's bail! Come back! No way, bro!
Aw, man.
Hey guys, what's up? LegendBTV here. Legends Go for music discussion, comedy, and more. And today, we're starting our Maroon 5 discography review. As some of you may know from one of my recent videos saying that I do have a trip coming up, and yeah, that's going to be coming up, and I'm currently on the trip now, so when you're seeing this video, I am currently far away from where my home is, so I'm not going to be uploading videos like I usually do. Instead, I've pre-made Maroon 5 discography reviews because Maroon 5 is a band that I've already said is really special, and I really just wanted to get into these albums for a long time, these old albums that just aren't new. I'm going to be getting into that one video at a time, and when I get time, I will upload each part for you guys. It should be up in about a 5-day span, but who cares? Let's get on with the first album of their discography, 2002's classic, Songs About Jane. Now, I know Kara's Flowers of the Fourth World is officially where 4 of the 7 members now, yes, there are 7 members, that's where they really got started, but Songs About Jane is the first album under the Maroon 5 name, so we're going to start with that. So yes, Songs About Jane, the classic album that I still find on store shelves, it's still like everywhere, and you can find it in pretty much like $5. It's a good deal for this album. And definitely, yeah, the first time I listened to this album, I was actually really blown away by like the musicianship and like the fact that this actually feels like a live band. There's actually moments where Maroon 5 get to like rock out. And although I wouldn't say these guys are like a hard rock band, they're just kind of like middle kind of rock band where it's like, oh, they're not really like all soft, but it's like when they rock out, you know, you can't really expect them to get like heavy metal kind of like rock and stuff. That's not really what these guys are all about. They're all about singing like love songs, and you know, you have to appreciate them in that merit, because boy, do we have a batch of really personal, incredibly well written, and really potent love songs here. My God, I really have to say the lyrics on this album are just incredibly detailed, incredibly nuanced, and really show a band that has a real talent for songwriting and skill and performance. Jeez. This album, I don't even know what it is. This is like none other Maroon 5 album, actually. And I would say it's up there, if not my favorite of their albums. This is coming from a guy who loves all their albums, and it's just the one that I feel like is the most real, the most personal, the most raw. You know, the least trying to get all that mainstream success, and the least poppy, and just, it has all kinds of real instruments. And like hearing this, and hearing what they're putting out on like Red Pill Blues, I'm just like, geez, they've changed so much in 15 years. And I can't really blame them for wanting to go down the poppy, you know, sellout route that they've been going down. But, you know, it's kind of a shame looking back, listening to this, honestly, and not, like, being like, why don't they make this kind of music still today? But you do have to understand that this was over 15 years ago, and music has changed, time has changed, and honestly, writing 6 songs about Jane's by now would have felt incredibly stale, formulaic, and probably would have got even blander than the music that you all say is really freaking god-awful from them nowadays. So I do give them some respect for at least varying it up from album to album, even if it is along with the latest trends. You know, they try something new, and I'm just like, well, yeah, I gotta give him credits for that. But anyways, let's get into this album. First off, we start off with Hard to Breathe. Starts off with this really banging drums, and then starting off with this guitar, and then, you know, Adam's fierce delivery. And yeah, it just all feels very real. It just feels very, you know, stripped back of any overproduction. And I can't even tell you how much I just, you know, kind of want an album of that sometime. Yeah, another thing that's really freaking awesome about this album is like almost every track has a guitar solo, and they're just so varied, and like they just play so many interesting things. Like there's a lot of like, you know, pianos in the guitars, and there's like a lot of like melody, and geez, I just feel like, wow. You know, they are pretty soft, and like their brand of guitar solos is rather like white, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Like there's a lot of amazing guitar solos on this album. And yeah, Harder to Breathe is definitely an example of that. One of the more rocky songs in the album, and I definitely appreciate that because this one definitely rocks. There's This Love, which was one of the biggest Maroon 5 hits ever, or at least going to be the most remembered. I mean, it never hit #1 or anything, but it's just the one I still hear, even last week, I swear, on my modern hit, today's hits radio. And I'm just like, wow, Maroon 5, they still have that. This song is gonna be one everybody remembers. It was a big hit, and honestly, it's not my favorite track here, but I definitely still love this one. And it is one of them that brought these guys to the mainstream and just brought them a whole bunch of fame, and you know, for that I gotta give them some respect. Track 3 on here is Shiver, and yes, this one really does make me shiver because geez, it's got a really haunting melody and guitar progression. It's got so many cool lyrics on here. This album has all the intense feelings of love, and just, you know, if you know about me, I love music, and just, you know, I feel like these lyrics are just fantastic all throughout this track and pretty much the whole album. There's all kinds of well-written, tasty nuggets of, you know, music, and I just feel like this is pretty much a perfect pop rock album in its entirety. Arguably probably the biggest hit on this album, She Will Be Loved, and that one really, once again, it's not one of my favorites on here, but I do love how it builds up to this amazing crescendo production and Adam's backing vocals over the chorus, and it just adds so many layers on top of this album, and that happens once again. Everything I'm saying kind of like transcends onto each other because each track I feel like is so well written and produced, and I feel like, yeah, you just don't really get that with a lot of pop records anymore. And then there's Tangled with the banging drums and just the catchy progression, and geez, just God. The Sun has one of the best guitar solos on this entire album and one of my favorite tracks on the album, actually. Must Get Out is a classic too. It's a slower track, but geez, those pianos are so pretty. And speaking of glorious pianos, geez, Sunday Morning just brings the fire in terms of pianos. Like, honestly, I love this track. Probably my favorite single from the album, actually. Yeah, it's not Sunday Morning, it's not This Love. I love those tracks, but like, Sunday Morning is really something special in my opinion. And then, yeah, Secret. Oh my god, Secret I think is my favorite song on here. It is so freaking amazing with the instrumentation and the acoustic trick-back instrumentation, along with the ending where the dark, glooming, glistening pianos come in as Adam sings, I know I don't know you, but I want you so bad. And while it does come off a bit shallow that he, you know, doesn't even know this girl, but probably only likes her because she's so freaking hot, it's still a spell that girls do cast upon many guys, and it's just a really intense feeling, yet it's all so true. Like, I love the earnesty he plays. Like, you know, yes, he doesn't even know this girl, but still, he wants her so bad, and you know what? Good for you. And then Through With You is, yes, another banger, another really catchy tune, and just a really enjoyable track. It doesn't really stand out as well as some of the better cuts here, but I do really enjoy this track. There are still plenty of things to like about this one. And yeah, Not Coming Home has one of the catchiest guitar riffs on this whole thing. Just a really stellar track through and through, and I love the feeling of like a live show coming in from the beginning where everybody's cheering, waiting for the track to begin. And I love that. I love all of the elements thrown in this album. I can't. And then Sweetest Goodbye definitely ends things on a really high note. I have really nothing bad to say about this album. I know that might make for a pretty dull and interesting review. Yeah, I just want to get that out there because this album, yeah, it's really something cool. I really recommend, if you haven't heard this album and you think Maroon 5 suck and have not heard this album, I'm just like, this might change your mind because this is definitely something special. Like, I listened to this first time around, and I was like, I fell in love with it. I was like, dang, this is like, I can't. I'm just like, yeah, this is definitely a classic, one of those records you can listen to, well, I wouldn't say over and over. Honestly, I don't actually come back to this as much as you may expect given my outstanding review for this album, because I always don't want it to feel like stale, or I don't want it to feel like, oh, I'm sick of this, I don't want to hear this again, or, you know, have the music sour on me any. So that's why I don't really pull this one back up unless I'm really in the mood to hear it. But this definitely is probably one of their best, if not their best work, and it's tied with another album I'm going to review coming up. You'll find out which one, but yeah, overall, for Songs About Jane, yeah, definitely 10 out of 10, Maroon 5 out of 5, and yeah, overall, definitely a recommend, guys. If you enjoyed this throwback review for the 2002 album Songs About Jane, subscribe to my channel, like, comment, subscribe, share your rating down below, and yeah, we got much more Maroon 5 throwback reviews coming up pretty soon.